We're going to get going and get started. Wow, wow, wow. Listen, I'm excited to talk with you on tonight. And I'm going to just go, just free flow and free flowing. Okay. I'm having some tongue tie going on tonight. But let's start with how you got started. I'm going to share a little bit about your bio a little bit more towards the end of the show and repeat some of the things that shared and we were possibly muted. But just sharing about your connection with Dancing on the Promise International Ministries and getting into the industry. What were your early years like of film? How did you start with all that in the beginning?
Well, I got to say this first. First, let me thank you for just being here, and I'm honored to be here. And I was sitting there. I was nervous when you were talking, and I was just like, man, I made it to the big time finally.
I wish
I was seriously getting nervous, but I was reflecting because these types of interviews I have to be myself, and I find it much more comforting to be someone else than to be myself at times. Know what I mean? So maybe that's what draws me to acting. But as far as the beginning, well, let me start up. Obviously, my wife, Apostle Michelle Rucker.
Yes.
She is the head, the visionary of Dancing on the Promise Ministries International. I happen to be married to her, so I guess that's how I fell in line with Dancing on the Promise. Lucky me. So no great thing I did, except have the good sense to ask her to marry me. So that's that. As far as her early years and mine, she started the ministry going on 20 plus years ago. I sure wasn't at the time. And we tell this story a lot with us that I wasn't really even involved in church, even at that time, the time, the DOP was started. I wasn't feeling it, wasn't feeling church, wasn't feeling church people, wasn't all that interested. And thankfully, I have a good wife, and who just sort of laid the groundwork. And eventually, as I grew and matured and had to overcome some things, eventually made my way, to Christ, of course, and then made my way towards accepting the call or accepting my role, within the ministry. Going into the acting bit, I had always liked acting, and I liked writing even years before that, since I was a child, a teenager. So that bug was already there. Through some things this is the story I tell everyone with the acting. I basically fell into the acting because at the time I really couldn't do much else. I I had had some challenges with the law and addictions and all of that some 20 plus years ago. And at the time, I really couldn't do anything else. And it was actually Michelle who reminded me, hey, you know what, the acting scene was coming big here, sort of in Atlanta. And she's just sort of pushed me to move in that direction. So to me, it was like the iced tea part. It was like the iced tea thing. Acting was more just a hustle. It was a way to make money, which in a sense it still is to a degree. Yeah. So that's how I really got started. It wasn't like some big revelation. And I said, hey, I want to be an actor and all that. I said, well, I can't do nothing else. I don't want to continue to work at some of the terrible jobs I had. So I just moved in that direction.
Wow. Listen, that's powerful to me because it reminds me of people that may say, I didn't go to school. I didn't get a college education, or I didn't, so this is what I have to do. This is all I have to do, or this career is the only one that will accept me. But it's amazing how God takes that and makes it grand and makes it amazing and awesome. Yeah. And you grow into it and you just become wonderful and you get connected and you do these awesome things, because I'm assuming you would never have imagined working with some of the people you've worked with. I'm assuming because you got into it, but I mean, you've worked with, I didn't even know that you had worked with Terry Vaughn, on something before and been on BET's Quad and so forth. And when you look back at your life and realize what you've done, does it make you feel a certain way, like, oh my God, I can't believe this?
Or... Yeah, it obviously is humbling. Obviously, I thought about this yesterday. I was talking to some writing students I have and reminding them that life, sometimes we're like in a rubber band at times with God. We feel as though we're pulled back, but then there's the launch part. You put something in a rubber band and pull it back. But then when you let the rubber band go, it shoots it farther than it could have gone. So I look at my life just that way. I can't take any credit. I take credit for showing up to the best of my ability. I take credit for doing the work that's necessary and sometimes pushing myself to do things. But all the credit obviously goes to the Lord. And without him, of course, it's cliche, but it's only cliche because it's the truth. Yeah. Without him, none of this can be possible. And I haven't done anything yet, to be quite honest with you. I'm scratching the surface, chopping the wood, as I like to say, and moving forward, ups, downs, and all the things that go around. But I just praise the Lord that I praise the Lord for the start, even having the chance, my full faculties, my limbs, my sanity, my brain, and all those things that come along with that give me the opportunity to use it. So it's very humbling.
And so when going through that, and it's very, the humility shows, it exudes off of you, which is such a blessing, because when God places us in position to do his work, whether it's in theater or whether it's in music or whatnot, and we remain humble, people can feel that and they feel that authenticity. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm happy that you have this spirit about you, because it's allowing other young men to know and see that, listen, you can still be doing great things and stay humble. You don't have to get, you don't have to get too conceited.
I'm gonna interrupt you, possible, because I want to be clear. I am not humble. I am not humble by any stretch of the imagination. I think great. My favorite subject is me. I'm not going to lie to you.
Come on.
but I appreciate you even saying that. What I have to do is remind myself to be humble. Yeah. In the face of the facts, in the face of the facts. So when I say I haven't done anything yet, that's the truth. I'm nobody's household name. I'm just doing what God allows me to do. So I better stay humble.
Right. Come on now.
Or at least act like it. Because that's the way I think success works. People, I think, are surprised when you talk about acting and music and all this, because it's obviously careers full of what they perceive as vanity, and there is that piece of it. But for the most part, and I'll defend this to a lot of people, and most people in this industry are humble. Most people are just working people. This is just the profession that they work in. But as artists, when it becomes collaborative and you work with people who can honestly teach you things, Yeah, it's good, man. It's as good as
Mm,
any other industry. It's as good
yeah.
as well, I won't say as good as ministry, but it's good. It's good.
Right, right. I mean, speaking of ministry, um, when you begin to, you know, cultivate this relationship with the Lord as you found Him and grew into that, and you continued on this journey with the gifts God has given you, was there any point that you saw some challenges in the church using your gift? And if so, what were those? And I ask that because I think it's great that we have holiday presentations, that we
Mm,
have those that come out to do our Christmas productions. I mean, I was
yeah,
in King of Glory
yeah.
in Atlanta. I miss it. I was a dancer in that, and
Hmm.
other productions that have gone, certain parts of the year. But I'm really into incorporating the fullness of giftings in a church, the church, or the building of the people. What are your thoughts about that? Have you had challenges? What do you see that in terms of how we operate now? I know that's a lot of questioning, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I I I come. Let me formulate my thoughts.
Yeah, take your
I
time.
think it's about not so much the what, it's the why. It's not so
Ah,
much the what, it's the why. Yes, church has the gifts. We should be using the gifts to spread, obviously, the gospel of Jesus Christ,
right.
not pounding people over the head with the gospel of Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
to spread the gospel of Jesus
Right,
Christ to both ourselves, sometimes
right,
first,
right.
because for some reason, when we think we're saved, we don't need the message anymore. But anyway, that's another topic.
Come on now.
And then to other people. I think some of the problems and the things I've seen when we become tools
Mm,
of a church or tools of a ministry for numbers or for presentations or to make the service look good, or
yeah,
the word item has been used. I've heard
yeah,
in churches I've been to and churches I've seen, we're going to have an item today.
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I know, I've heard that, yeah.
I've seen it more with obviously Michelle and the dance ministry, and I'm
Yes,
so privileged to have seen the evolution of dance ministry within the church. But of course, even now today,
yeah,
you have these things come up as tools. Uh, so sometimes I can't decipher it. So it's in the Lord's hand. God, what do you think about this? But it comes down to not so much what we're doing sometimes, but why we're doing it. And we always have to be careful of why we're doing things. We're all subject to to not so good motivations. But
right,
if we were going to take these young ministers and ministers of the dance, ministers of acting and writing and all of these things, then
right,
I don't think that they're tools. We're tools just to clamor for attention. You know what I mean?
right,
Uh,
right.
so I don't know if that's the greatest answer,
Yeah,
but
it's a
that's
start.
the answer I got.
Yeah, no, it's a start because I agree that we I guess some places, I'm gonna be delicate tonight,
Mhm. Sure,
box up certain gifts.
absolutely.
And, I understand that there are, I guess, categories, if you say, that
Hmm.
the church uses for different functions. I know churches have evolved to, we only are here for a certain amount of time and so forth. And
Certainly,
I get all of that.
certainly.
My concern is I'm so into everybody getting saved or everybody getting something. And if
Hmm.
they have a gift that's not being used, but they use it to glorify the Lord, or they use that gift in a way where they can help others come to Christ during our services. I'm like, even if it's 3-minute monologue or something, how can we still
Hmm.
incorporate it? And I don't know, maybe that's why I'm not a pastor right now, because the Lord is like, no, you gonna bring too much in there, Sherida. So no.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a misunderstanding. Sometimes within, I'll say, religious bodies. I
yeah.
won't even take church out of it.
That's good. Yeah,
Religious
thank you.
bodies,
Yeah.
that there's a misunderstanding about dance. Obviously, but maybe
Yes.
it's a little better now. There's certainly a misunderstanding about acting because it's seen as a secular occupation, a secular
Right.
thing. So they, in their, I can use the word blissful and intentional ignorance,
Yeah.
assign carnality to these people that chose, or not even chose, were called to
Right.
perform in this manner, and think that it's just sort of some vainglorious thing that we're doing. But there's vainglorious people working at Wendy's. There's vainglorious people working at the
Come on.
airport. So don't tell me about the vaingloriousness of the entertainment industry, because I can find vainglory, in an apartment complex.
Come on.
So that part kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
We need to be open, I think, as
Yeah.
church people and even spiritual / religious people.
Right.
The problem is sometimes, and I'm gonna shut up about this,
Yeah. That's good.
we want to close ourselves in, and stand on the porch of the church and wave our finger, at the world and what they're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a good position.
It's not a good position, so I'm just going to support you on that. It's not. I just don't believe it is, and I say that on my own because even just teaching the gospel, it's about love. The gospel is love, and so how can I stay in the light? And I am the light, but I'm called to darkness. How can I be that example? How can I show darkness what light looks like if I'm always with you or pushing you back? So
Yeah,
it is what it is, and I stand on that, and I
yeah,
believe that, and we still have a lot of work to do. So I'm glad you shared
absolutely.
that. I just had a question about that because, being in the worship arts myself, as you already know, and
Hmm.
being a dancer, even in the industry, and I used to dance in the world before I
Hmm.
came into the church to dance,
Hmm.
but having that, it's like that's my expression in my worship. But finding
Yes.
the place in the church, it
Yes.
just depends on where and who and
Hmm.
what they want, and so it ends up being minimized or shut back. And of
Hmm.
course, I know a lot of dancers agree with me, but we have come a long way. But
Absolutely.
in terms of the arts, I grew up in California, and my parents had enrolled me in Judy Berlin's Kids on Camera in San
Hmm.
Francisco, and so I started acting really early. But
Hmm.
I was in everything, so I was in acting
Oh.
and all kind of stuff. I guess I was a wild child because my parents had me in everything. They had me in acting, they had me in sports. I
Yeah.
modeled, I did all kinds of stuff. And so
No,
it
you were
was a
just
lot.
doing what kids do. Kids
We're doing what kids
experiment and
do.
go out into the world and find
Yes,
stuff.
and
That's what they
find
do.
exactly. And I'm so grateful for that. And
Mhm.
so when we get older into that place where we find our purpose in ministry, the Lord may not have me doing the acting portion as much, but
Mhm.
I have the worship arts in me. So, I look for, okay, how can I still exercise this gift, God, that you gave me to reach the world? And so the
Mhm.
Lord still gives us creative ways to do what we're called to do.
Absolutely.
But and I'm happy about that. But I do wish that there were other avenues of other artistic abilities in from the industry that could incorporate in the church, where it would be received, or we could help or bring a revolution to people's lives and so forth.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, with what you have been doing in let's say film and television, etc., being a man of color, being a male, have you experienced any obstacles or challenges? Because I want someone that is a male, possibly, or someone may know someone
Mhm.
that is a young man or a man of color, or either way, that's trying to get into there, but they're going through so many barriers or bumps, or they've been told, no, you're too light or too dark, or no, you're too gospelly, or you're too secular, or whatever. What
Mhm.
has been your experience, and or what could you just share with that brother about pushing forward into wanting to do film and being in the industry, and maybe even how? Because again, I've met a lot of artists
Mhm.
that want to get into there. They've gotten a lot of pushback, but what have been your challenges, and what are some of your recommendations?
Well, and I just realized this. I'm actually light skinned. I really didn't know till you mentioned that. But no,
Yes.
no. As just far as challenges, and I want to be very as clear. I sound very Stephen A. Smith. I want to be clear about this.
No, you're good.
Um, my agent and I talk about this sometimes. She submits me for projects. Project will come up and they'll say, 40 to 50, 60-year-old African American male, blah, 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 blah. And
Okay.
she'll submit my picture, and then I'll either be accepted to audition or not. And of course, as African Americans, there is the issue of coloring uh, as
Mm,
far as it relates to, like, you and I, you being more brown skinned than myself.
Yeah.
If we were casting you and me, like maybe we would cast as husband and wife, but maybe not blood related. So there is that within the African American, I think, entertainment community. That is a part of it. Is it a good part of it? No, of course it's not.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, and you just said. So I have to accept that there's not every role just because they advertise for a black man that
Yeah.
I'm going to fit for. I only fit for certain things. I have a look that lends itself to certain things. I tell people I'm probably not going to be cast as the cool guy. I'm not a cool guy. I'm not going to be cast. I'm not the muscly, super
Yeah.
cool bow leg. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to get
Yes.
that role. There's no sense trying to fool myself into thinking. Now, I might think I'm a cool guy, but I'm not. I'm not going to be cast in that. So when you're talking about brothers coming into the industry,
Yeah.
in my opinion, you have to accept the realities of the industry.
That's good.
And sometimes we don't want to accept the realities of the industry.
Wow.
The realities of the industry are you and I have a certain look. And if you're going to go into this thing, realize that people are going to first judge you upon that look, especially for film, because film is first about look. Theater is more about character. You can
Look
get
at
away
that.
with more in theater, but when it comes to the screen, if you go to be cast as a bus driver, they want a person that looks like a bus driver. That whatever they perceive a bus driver looks like, that's what they want. So they can find a million people to say, come on, get on the bus. So if you don't got the look, chances are you're not going to be cast.
Right.
But I will say this. It is about your attitude and your willingness to deal with the industry as it is and to be all right, to not get your rear end up on your shoulders and think every job that you audition for, you're going to get cast in. Because a casting director told me this, and I hold it in my heart and try to remember it.
Yeah.
I had auditioned for a role, and it was on the quad, as a matter of fact. I auditioned on that show 13 times. 13 times I auditioned for various roles on that show.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think, I don't know, only got one of the roles because it was a biracial role. And they called me at the last minute, the day before shooting, to come down there. So it told me they probably had cast somebody else before they cast me, which is fine because I don't care why they cast me. Just cast me and pay.
Cast me, right.
So I say all that to say that the casting director said to me, hey, we appreciate you coming down here to audition and always having a good attitude. That's what he said to me. He said, you don't come in here, talking about myself, like I'm supposed, you better cast me. I done went to 2 acting classes. You better, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think this is where we get into trouble. This thing takes time to build. This, like I told you, I'm building. I'm just getting started. Yeah, I have been blessed to do a few little things. That's great, but I'm on to bigger things, and it's going to take time. I've got things to learn. I've got people to learn from. So I think this is where, as maybe for the younger, it's that impatience, and everybody wants to be a star.
Come on.
To be seen, and everyone wants likes and all the little stuff that goes along with that.
Come on.
Boy, if you want to last in this thing, it's going to take a little minute.
That is so powerful. I am so glad that you've shared that and you said that, because we have to know that. I love the fact, let me back up, that you describe types of people, whether it's for film versus theater, character, theater, film, I guess the look at first. But the reason why I'm glad you're describing this and you're sharing this with us and for those who listen at a later date is because it's going to help give people an understanding that it's the type of role or the character. And if that doesn't fit you, you don't. And if your skin is not tough to understand that, then
you're fooling yourself.
You're fooling yourself. Maybe you need to step back and reevaluate. Should you keep working in this industry or not? I mean, you hear of actors all the time talking about, as you just shared with us, how many roles you tried out for, or maybe didn't get. Yeah. And but the perseverance It's keep going. That's the goal, and you're sharing that. And so I'm hoping tonight somebody captures that for themselves, because that's really what I wanted people to grab hold on to. That there will be challenges, whether it's your gender, your color, or whatever. But when you understand the industry, as you've explained to us, then you gotta be more rest assured of your why. It may not feel good, but it is what it is.
No, it doesn't feel good, especially in the beginning. I'll just add this piece, and I know you want to move on.
No, you're fine.
It's also, sometimes we're not cast that has nothing to do with talent. Talent is this small. Talent's small. It's work and then look and all of that. But I know that I've turned in many a good audition that I have not been called for. But sometimes it has nothing to do with my talent level. It has to do with how I look, how tall I am, how fat I am, how slim I am, all these types of things. I remember being on a set, and I remember it was a high-level actress, and we were doing background at that time. Yeah. And it was a high level. She's a very attractive actress. Everyone would know her if I mentioned it. And I watched them take a young lady off the screen because she was too attractive. They didn't say why that she was too attractive, but I knew that was the reason, because she would take shine away from the main actress.
Oh my goodness.
You see my point? So it had nothing to do with her. It just had everything to do with the main actress has got to get the shine. So you can't come on there trying to take the main actress's shine. Woo! You got to be moved to the side. So that's got nothing to do with talent. That just has everything to do with the luck of the draw. You're too pretty. Sorry, baby. You're too pretty. You got to go.
Sorry. Next.
Wow. But that's the reality. And that's what we have. That's what I say that to keep somebody going. Sometimes has nothing to do. We think it's our talent. We think it's I bombed the audition. No, it's just like you might just be too tall. You might be too tall. If you're doing a scene with Tom Cruise, you might be too tall. If you're 6'5", sorry.
Right. Sorry. You're too tall. That's good. It reminds me of when I was talking about in my childhood doing Judy Berlin's Kids on Camera. We did an audition for Bologna. And it's still on audio, and I'm hoping my father still has it. And there were only 2 people left for the audition that would get the commercial, me and another young lady that got it. And we both did equally good from my understanding, but it was image and look that was different. We were 2 different nationalities. She had a little bit more experience than I did, but the director, was saying, wow, you're very good, don't stop. But it made me think about that, when you are over something, or you're the director, or the producer, or whatever the other titles are that you know better than I do, you're looking for that person and that look. And so I remember I just cried. I was young then, but I cried because I didn't get it. But nowadays, if you were to put me back and to do the same commercial, I'd be like, okay, well, that's good. I don't like bologna anyway, so I would just
right.
But I say that just to tie up, because that's going to help so many people with, I'm going to say this, self-esteem, because we will put ourselves down and think we're not good enough. And you just share with us, it's not really all your talent. It's other factors that deal with that. Let me ask you this. I love the fact that you support Dancing on the Promise Ministries with Apostle Michelle, your wife. Talk about the writer's room, because again, there's so many people I hear and I've spoken to in the media industry that write, or they're trying to write. They want to be a part of a film or somewhere in the theater. And tell us about what you do first with Dancing on the Promise in that area, and maybe some things that people can do if you're script writing, how they can get started, or what are some suggestions for that as well?
Well, we started the writer's room. This was our first inaugural class this year. We started with the group January. I think I started January of this year. We just did the last class this past Monday. We had 3 students. Shout out to them at various levels of writing. And the writer's room was dedicated. I told people it was focused. Obviously, it's a spiritual Christian class.
Right.
But what I told them was, because they were writing spiritual, but then some secular work,
Okay.
And the first thing I told them was, no one has the right to dictate to you the genre, the medium, the world in which you want to create these things.
Wow.
I don't work just strictly in the Christian world, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me to do so. I know
Come
people
on
do
now.
it, but I'm not going to do it because I
Yeah.
wasn't called by you. I was called by him. So
Mm.
if you want to ask me about it, don't ask me. So I told them that whatever genre they want to write in, you can write in because you're predestined and do so, at least according to the
My
word.
God.
So it doesn't mean that we can write and do anything. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
right, right.
if God put a vision in you, then he put it and no one can take it away. But anyway, so the writer's room, we did 6 months, meeting twice a month. We focused on story structure.
Okay.
We focused on, I acted as more of a coach and less as a writing instructor, but more of a support and breaking down what it's like to start writing now. The students were all 40 plus ish, coming into this writing thing later, late.
Wow. Wow.
So we can sometimes, as we get into things late, we sometimes think we've missed the boat.
Yes.
It's not going to happen for me. How do I do this? How do I get into it? I don't know where
Yeah.
to start. I ain't got no time. I got 12 children, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we had to address that. But again, the rubber band theory says it doesn't matter when you start. It doesn't matter, because if God's pulling you back, he's going to shoot you forward. So what I talk to them about is just sort of the basics and to demystify writing. That was the whole point. Because sometimes we have to demystify stuff.
Wow.
We think, again, it's about talent and you're just talented and you can just write. But everybody, work trumps talent. Work trumps talent.
Wow.
Because when I got into writing, I didn't go to college. What I did is I read books. That's what I did. I read and I studied everything on screenwriting. That's what I did. All praise is due to him. That's what I did. So I taught myself to do it. And now I can teach others to do it. So if I can do that, anybody can do that. Yes. So that was the message to them. I'll continue to be their coach. I'll be to continue to push them on. I don't know what's going to happen with their writing, but I know they've been given a call, and my job is to push them as best I can, both spiritually and then secularly, to get to the goals that they're trying to get to.
Right. So I think that's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic because, we need those coaches. We need those push. We need another set of eyes to tell us this is good, this is not, because I'm kind of equating this to writing a book. For those of us that are authors, we need that. And so, whoever's listening tonight or at whatever point, and you're writing or you created this, and I know one of my co-media partners just wrote a script and needs someone to see and know it. And I'm saying, I know the perfect person that you need to connect with, to talk to. We need that because we never know what's going to happen. But again, I love the fact that you're saying, I'm just telling you how to do this, but we don't know what's going to happen to it. That's between you and God, and how God,
Yeah. And Apostle, this is the time. Think about it.
Wow.
When you and I were growing up, well, you're younger than me.
Not much.
There was 3 channels on TV. I know no one will believe this. There was 3 channels on the television. You had to watch what was on the television. Yeah. Now there's 18,000 TV channels with 18 million TV shows and movies. If there was ever a time
to create
something, this would be the time to do it. People are hungry. People are starving for media, reading, writing, entertainment, all what they're starving for. So if I know you've watched some bad TV and some bad movies, as some of us. So if that can be created,
I know.
Surely,
yes,
surely.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. It's funny because, and I can't even say the station's names because I don't want to, and I don't want them to block me or nothing. But there's some stations, that are on apps and through our Xfinity apps, and I'm just like, why? Just why? Just why?
Shout out to them, doggone it. Keep creating it. Keep making jobs for me. I don't care. Make whatever you want to make. I don't care. Just make it. Just make it.
Right.
Hire
It's
me.
a freedom.
Pay me.
Yeah. Right. I love it. I love it. That's great advice, and I love that. I love the instruction and the oversight of that as well. And so you've also done a lot of teaching credits with True Colors Theaters, True Colors Theaters, August Wilson monologue.
Yeah, we're blessed to be
You've done
part
performances in Atlanta, National Black Arts Festival, which is such a great and big
of it. Yeah,
deal.
black,
Out of
black
the things
college.
that you do, working in film and television and theater, what what is your passion point? Which one of those are you most passionate about, or can you not compare them?
I can compare them, but they're all relevant to me. They all have equal relevancy
Okay,
to me. All there's some people in these industries that prefer theater to film, and then you'll hear
yeah,
what I feel though are well, I'm not going to say that. What I
yeah.
feel are untrue things that
Mm,
sometimes theater artists perhaps have better acting skills than TV or film art, which I don't agree with at all because they're different skill sets to do different things.
skill sets.
And I don't diminish one or the other.
Right,
I want to work. I'm into working and being
right,
paid for my work. That's what I'm into. There's my passion point.
right.
And again, I'd say that sort of sarcastically, but I don't mean it to say I'm going to do anything because I don't. And there's some things I haven't done. But if the work is morally and spiritually true to me, then that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be because I've met people on
Mm,
all of these that some are true and some not so true. And
mhm.
I'm not going to distinguish between the two of them. Yeah.
I have two strong questions for you, and
Yeah.
then I want you to share your background. Well, one strong and one just general. The
Mhm.
strong question in my book is, what would you tell a brother that is going out doing film, theater, maybe got a part on a television role, etc.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say I'm going back to this for a reason because I like what you said earlier, and it's secular and they're struggling maintaining their Christianity, their walk, or their relationship with God, I'll say, in that secular arena, because they feel that they need to, I guess, assimilate a little bit into it to get the role or to continue to be included or to see if
Mhm.
it'll take them further. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know you work in both arenas, and
Mhm.
I've taught in both arenas:
Mhm.
gospel dance, secular dance. Matter of fact, the studio I go to now is secular,
Mhm.
but it don't change the God in me because I'm doing when I
Sure.
start dancing, I dance gospel.
Yeah.
So, but what are your thoughts on that, and what could you tell some of the brothers that are doing that now or headed to work in one of those arenas, just maintaining their walk. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think maintaining a walk can be challenging anywhere, right?
Right.
It would be tough to maintain a walk in Alaska if that's where I was placed. I can find just as much sin in Alaska as I can find in Atlanta, I think. Um,
Okay.
so that's sort of the first thing I would say. And again, because I'm going to defend my industry,
Yes.
because I think sometimes the Christian entities then want to look down on the industry and
Yeah.
make the industry the problem. But again, there's sin in every industry and in every walk of life. So I'll just say that
Absolutely.
first. As to the brothers struggling, I will say you can struggle anywhere. You can struggle at Walmart. You can struggle at Payless Shoe Store. You can struggle anywhere. So the struggle will be wherever we are because
That's
as
it.
human beings there's going to be struggle. Now I don't want to diminish the fact that yes, sometime within the entertainment industry there is an overabundance of vanity, sex, language, and
Yeah.
all the stuff that comes
That
with
comes
that.
with it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Now, where I have struggled, because there's been projects, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Someone asked,
Okay.
I was in audition, and the young lady, this casting person said, well, we're going to have intimate scenes,
Okay.
simulated sexual scenes. So she said, do you have a problem with that? Now, here's my answer. I do not have a problem with that. But
Right.
I said to her, as long as it's true, as long
Mm.
as it's true. So what do I mean? I said, I don't have a problem with it if it's within the concept and the truth of the story that's being told. Because I've had to, kiss women and things on set and on stage and things like that. And if it falls within the truth, then I can do it. If it's gratuitous and you just want to see somebody's backside, or you just want to just throw this in there, I'm not as down with that.
Right.
So because it's not true, it's exploitation.
Look at that.
It's exploitation for men and women. It's exploitation. So here's the point. To the young brother who's just starting out, I will say this, because I had a young lady ask me the same question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Chances are you're not going to have that problem. Why do I say that? Because if you're just starting out, your pick of someone asking you to do a simulated sex scene or say this, that, and the other thing is very low. It's low. That's the bottom line. That's going to pierce somebody's bubble. But a casting agent told me that if you worked once a month during the first month of your entry into the film industry, you would only make $12,000, and is a 99 trillion to 1 ratio that's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
You see my point?
Right. Yes.
So some of that may not be your problem. Right. If someone says, hey, I need you to say this or that, then you can decide for yourself if you want to say this or that.
Or that, yeah.
But all I'm saying is, and I've said plenty of bad language in plenty of things, but I've tried to judge it on the truth of the entire thing. Right. Was the language necessary to get my point across? And it was my agent and my agent's a Christian, who talked to me about this. If someone cast me on Straight Outta Compton, well, you better know what Straight Outta Compton is.
Come on now, I'm from the West Coast.
Do you think somebody's going to be using some F-bombs in Straight Outta Compton?
Right.
Of course they are.
Of course they
are. You don't want no parts of that. Don't come up later talking about, oh, well, I feel kind of funny. You knew that before you even entered the arena. So I don't want to hear it.
Right.
If you want to stay on this side of it, that's fine. Do that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to come over here, then be honest with yourself.
Right.
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hell over saying this, that, or the other thing in a film if I believe it's the truth that's being spoken.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to hell for that.
Part of your skill set, your craft, what you're doing. Yeah.
I'm called to say it. If I'm called to say it, I'm called to say it. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say, because I have a job to do. My job is to support the vision of the production team that's doing that particular thing. Yeah, and I know that I don't know if that answer is the best answer,
but it answered the question.
But it's take it a day at a time. Take it one project at a time. Sometimes we make these things too big. We make them too big. We make the problem too big. You haven't even encountered the problem. Don't make the problem really big, and you haven't even encountered the problem yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're setting yourself up for something that may not ever happen.
Right. That's good. I love that. I love that, and I love that because you said, even if it's someone that's just starting out, who we're kind of talking about really in this context of the conversation, they probably won't get there yet. It's a step by step.
Right. And again, if it's a small thing, if it's an independent thing, you can have those type of conversations, because now you're on an intimate level. Right. So no offense, you're not going to be cast with Samuel Jackson, right. to say this, that, and the other thing. You're not there. You know what I mean? We're not there yet. So it's no sense trying to create a problem that isn't there.
Right.
Do your work first.
Do your work first.
Do your work first, and let some of those chips fall where they may.
That is it right there. That sealed the deal. I mean, that's just like me saying, I'm about to try for Alvin Ailey, knowing I did not take ballet how I should have in my younger years. It's not happening. I didn't work towards it. I didn't feel to prepare for Alvin Ailey.
You're not getting
it's not
there.
happening.
Right.
Okay,
it would be just like that. It would be just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Okay. So I want to ask about SGI Studios. Tell us about that. And is this something that people can ask you about, connect with you in the
Yeah.
studio, or etc.? We want to know about it.
Yeah, SGI Studios, I guess, would be the secular version of the writer's room.
Okay.
It is screenwriting,
Mm,
instruction, coaching, things of that nature. I have one guy
okay.
that I'm working with, and he got a secular script.
Okay.
And I'll justify it by saying, I consider myself a screenwriter. That's not all I write, but I am a
Right.
screenwriter, and I've been
Right.
fortunate, to win a few awards and things, and sort of be recognized in that arena.
Yeah.
And so I like to think I know a little bit about it, not a lot, not everything,
Right.
certainly, but I do believe I can give some direction. And if
Yeah.
someone has, some ideas and things that they're working on, I like to think I can help them with that. And
Right.
hopefully they'll choose to.
Absolutely. And now, how did they connect with SGI? Would they just reach out to you directly, or is there?
Yeah, I mean, they can reach out to me directly. I guess the best thing is for the DOP phone number, because that's
Yes.
sort of, I don't know if you have that. I can give it to you if you want.
Yes.
It is SGI Studios GA at Gmail. SGI being story guidance and inspiration. SGI
Studio
Studios GA
GA
at
at
Gmail.
Gmail. Okay.
And then I don't know if you have the number, but I'll give it to you if you want to.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Perfect. That way people can connect with you with that.
yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So we are wrapping up with our time, running out of time. We're almost hitting our point. Perfect. I'm loving this conversation.
Thank you.
What
Too.
give a final nugget for it, it can be for men, it can be for us, it can be for those that are pursuing already in maybe beginning the arts in terms of film and TV. Any advice, suggestions that you can share with the audience, including those that are abroad that watch our show?
Hmm.
Any just simple final words or advice to them for those that are considering it, or are in it, just maintaining that
Um,
walk
um,
in the industry.
wow. Uh, I'll give the advice my wife always gives me that I both sometimes follow and sometimes don't follow.
Okay.
And to just take it easy on yourself and take it easy on myself. Yeah, take it easy.
Mm.
Again, I do not, and I will say that is my qualifier. She tells me this a lot. Sometimes I follow it, sometimes I don't. But I'm learning to
Yes.
take it easy, to take it
Mm.
easy
Yeah.
on myself, to forgive myself, to take myself gently, to realize I don't have to do anything. I'm not going to get everything. I'm not going to get everything I want. You're
Mm.
not going to get everything you want. You might as well talk yourself out of that right now. Take it easy, man. Grow in
Mm.
this thing a little bit as I'm trying to grow. Take your lumps. Sometimes there's lumps to be given, and because we all take lumps in whatever industry that we're in,
Right.
whatever our work life or spiritual, we all take lumps. We got
Yeah.
to take lumps sometimes.
Yeah.
That's correct. But I would also say it also do some work. Do some work. Work is a
Mm.
four-letter word in society right now. Work. Do some
I'm
work.
telling you.
Four-letter word. No one wants to work. They just want to be discovered. They just want to be seen, and
That's
all the stuff
good.
that comes along with that. Let's take some work, man. The people that you see on television regularly, we all see like regular people.
Right.
They didn't get there by accident. We think they just got discovered, and they're so pretty and they're so cute. Some of
Right.
them went to work, man. Some of them went to work. They
Yes.
earned the right to
Yeah.
be there. Shout out to just because she just became one of our artistic directors at Alliance Theater, Tinashe Bolden, who I
Right.
have learned a lot from. It takes some work, man. This thing
Mm.
ain't easy, but no kind of success is easy. This thing
Right.
takes work, bro. And
Right.
we got to be willing to put in a little bit of work sometimes.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. While you're talking, I keep thinking of Taraji Henson. I think her story really talks about just her, and there's another
Mhm.
actress. I forget her name, but it just took them forever to get where they are today. But you said that key word, those four letters, work. They put
Mhm.
in work to get it. And it was over a long period of time. And
Mhm.
so,
Yeah. We
perfect.
think, they just got discovered. No, no, some people been grinding, man. And it's not
Yes.
just entertainment,
Right.
ministry, yourself. My wife, 20 years in the game, 20
Come
plus years
on.
in the game.
Yes.
These people are working. My wife works, bro. She
Yes.
don't,
Yes,
she
she
don't,
does.
she don't she ain't just get here.
Right. Right.
You know?
And let me tell you about your wife. And I think I said this when the system had me muted for some strange reason. So I'm gonna work on that. Y'all, I'm gonna work on that. Whoever's watching it now or later, to fix the broadcast. But it was years ago. It had to have been. I want to say maybe almost 20 years ago because I've been doing ministry at right at 30 years, I think this year, 30, 31.
Shout out to
And
you. Shout out to you.
I danced at some event she did
Mm-hmm.
years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting into it here in Georgia because I came from California. And I danced at an event she did. And when I was done, this woman of God, she came over to me and she knew me but didn't fully know me. But she
Mm-hmm.
hugged me. She prayed over me. She said, God, she can give you more, refill her up, all the things that we as nurturers and teachers like yourself and instructors should do to those that are coming up along the ranks, And I love the fact, and I share this all the time with people, or if I'm at a conference, because the reason why it stuck with me, because so many people will say, oh, good, or that you're anointed, but they won't say, no, push, give more. Now you
Yeah,
can do better. So the loving way
she
she did
is.
it
Yeah,
stuck with me to
yeah,
this day. And that's been years
yeah,
ago. And
yeah,
that's why what you're saying, you're right on point. I can vouch for it.
yeah,
That's who you guys are. Y'all work, y'all hustle, y'all push through. I want to say grind, like I'm back in California.
yeah.
And,
She
and, and it
works, man.
shows.
She
Yeah. And
works,
it's
man, and so
beautiful.
do you. Shout out to you.
Oh, bless
But
you.
she's the real deal, man.
Yeah.
She's the real deal. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as her husband. I'm saying her as an observer.
Right.
As an
Yeah.
observer.
Yeah.
There's
She is.
some people that put in the effort, man,
Right.
and
She does.
life. We sometimes thought it's just going to fall out the sky.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes not.
Right. Sometimes not. So since it's
Mhm.
not right now, what you gonna do? Right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you might be in the not season.
Right. Come on now. That's
No,
good.
but I thought about this yesterday, and I told the writing students, I said, doctors, they do that, what they call it, residency.
Yeah.
And so they got to stay at the hospital and sleep at the hospital and
Yeah.
spend 23 hours a day.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So you mad at them because they're making all this money. Well, are you going to stay up for 23 hours and pay $200,000 in medical
Right.
education bills? Are you going to do
Right.
that?
You
Well,
gonna do
stop
it?
talking about them.
Right.
Appreciate what they do.
Exactly. That's right. Perfect example. Gotta
Yeah.
work. Gotta work. That's gonna be the theme right now for this week. Y'all, we gotta work. Stay
Yeah, gotta
working.
work
Stay
some. Yeah.
focused. I know I receive that even for myself. Listen,
Me
David,
too.
thank you so much for joining us here
Oh,
on the
thank you,
Triumphant
Apostle.
platform. Yeah, such an honor to have you. I'm going to make sure that everybody, that you all remember to follow and support. And I'm going to make sure that I reshare you guys his Facebook information and the Gmail that we got for SGI Studios, ga@gmail.com, so that
Mhm.
those of you that have spoken to me on other occasions about scripts and writing and film and so forth, you have someone you can talk to and he can tell you further information if you really want to get involved, if you're serious about working. I'm going to say that, put that in.
Well, yeah, if
But
you're not serious, right?
you
Right
just
anyway.
want to know, right?
Yeah, right
Just
anyway.
wanna know. Right. Just write it
Yeah,
anyway.
you don't have to be serious. Just right anyway.
Just right. And like you said, this is the time.
Yeah,
This is the
oh God,
perfect
yeah,
time to get that stuff in. So we
yeah.
definitely want to push that and get that out there on tonight. So listen, I hope you come back again. I'm going to try to do this every year, but we want to continue to connect with you. I thank you for pouring into this
Thank
platform
you.
on tonight. For those that are in the creative, in the arts, in the industry area that you are, with theater, with film, with writing and all that, it's phenomenal, and you're one of a kind for this show, and so very appreciated, and definitely want to
Thank
continue to
you.
highlight this broadcast and you for the work that you're doing in the community and how you're helping other people also work towards their dreams as well, in film and in the industry. And so without further ado, y'all, I just want you guys to give him some love. If you're watching this show on the replay, you can always follow him. David, can you tell them what your Facebook uh, handle is?
I think
Is
it's
it?
D Rucker Part 3. So
And
D is
y'all,
in David.
I'll put
Yeah,
it in the post as well, y'all, so you
yeah.
all can know to follow him.
My personal is D Rucker Part 3. The
Okay.
professional one I use for the acting and stuff is David Rucker Part 3.
Okay.
For David Rucker the third.
Perfect.
And all that stuff if you're of interest.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right, David, thank you so much for coming on the show. God
Apostle,
bless
thank you
you.
so much. You're a blessing.
Oh,
We haven't had a chance to connect like this,
I
I think,
know.
in ever. So I'm
Right.
honored and I'm
Me too.
humbled, and I really pray that I've given God as much of the glory as He deserves. I know I
Yes.
haven't, but if I haven't, then charge it to my head and not my heart, and
Amen.
because my goal is to give Him the credit that He's
Yes.
due to the best of my ability. And now my character, don't take that too serious, but we all got character. So
Yes,
thank
we
you so
do.
much. Thank
We
you so
do.
much.
Yeah, I still think I got some character in me from
You
just
got some. You
my
got some.
younger. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
So
But God
we're
needs that too. He needs that too.
yes, yes. And look, I'm okay with mine. I'm
I'm
okay
okay
with
with
it.
it. Yes.
Yes, so good. Listen, family, that's all we have tonight for the Triumphant Show with Sherida Lovelace. I want you to join me next week for one final guest as we get ready to wrap up our Gentlemen in June. Make sure that you pass this show. If you are watching from the nations or catching the replay, we just are excited that you were able to listen to us on tonight. Make sure that you connect with Pastor David Rucker III, Coup of Dancing on the Promises, Ministries International, SGI Studios. You've got to connect. If you've been talking about it, you don't need to wait any longer. Get involved and get connected
Yeah.
so that
Write
you can
something,
hear.
man. Write something.
Write something. Even if it's just, look, David, even if it's a paragraph, get started,
Man,
right?
look, if
Something.
Sharknado can be produced, they can produce what you got.
Come on now. There you go. So, y'all, there is no excuse. This is the season for you to connect, and we want to make sure that you do that as well. So, we love you. We thank you for joining the show on tonight. You all make sure that you reach out to me if you have any other questions, or you have any concerns, or you have any questions about the show, or you want to be a guest. Make sure that you join me or send me a message at Sheridalovelace Ministries at gmail.com. We love you all. God bless you all. We will see you next week, same time, S Lovelace TV here on YouTube. Goodbye.